This is shit. I lose count. Is this 54? Episode 54, Figuring Shit Out. You already know what it is. Bunny Flock's here. Check out the websites, Lose a Perspective, cyberbunny.com. We got King Author in the building. What's going on, bro?
What up, bro? You know time it is Unify and Thrive, folks. Hey, I'm gonna keep saying it. 2020 faces is popping in some of y'all. Goddamn, I'm about to roll through the fall on fire. Look, I just like to share that good news with y'all.
Facts.
Yeah, Frank, what we got going on today?
We got Drisco here, Family Values TV. We're gonna chop it up with him for a little bit. This dude, we got a lot to talk about. We're gonna talk about family stuff. We're gonna talk about religion stuff. We're gonna talk about the Vice panel that you was on, I think 3 or 4 months ago. Get your feedback on that. But first things first, you know, when we come on, we ask our guests to talk about their figuring shit out moment. So basically, any moment in your life, you figure some shit out, you had an epiphany, you had a eureka moment, your life changed, the skies opened up, and everything changed for you. Do you have one you can share?
I have too many to share, man. I done went through that in waves, bro. I had one at 18 when I realized that that everything that's told to us ain't necessarily the truth.
Facts.
That sent me down a dark rabbit hole that kind of sent me a little too far. Then I reeled it back in, you know, and it's just been phases, man. But it's just crazy to really see how much is going on out here when you really start opening your eyes and pay attention.
That's real. No, that's facts. That's facts.
What was too far? Hold on. What was too far?
Man, I'm gonna keep that to myself. All
right, that's cool. We won't get you in trouble, not have somebody looking for you or something.
Exactly.
Now, I want to say though, it's good to be aware when you say, "Hey, buddy, let's go back the other way now." You know what I mean?
Exactly.
King, you want to do a homeschooling, right?
No, we are homeschooling. Yeah.
Oh, you are homeschooling. Okay.
Yeah, we are homeschooling. We just said it. We're about to submit our papers to the school, right? Because only one of our kids is school age, right? But we just sent our papers off, like probably, or sending them off the week coming up. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I guess my question, because Drisco, you got now 8 kids.
Yeah.
How was there a transition period, or did you were your kids going to public school, then you pulled them out, or did you start them off, you know, at homeschooling? Like, how was that process?
Yeah, it really, bro. My kids was in public schools, at least the oldest 2. They were in public schools up until 2020, and when all the lockdowns happened and we had to homeschool, we kind of started noticing some things that kind of concerned us. At the time, we was in Philly public schools, and man, my oldest son couldn't read. He couldn't read on a 3rd grade level, bro. He was what, 8 years old at the time, and I mean, he literally read probably on a graduating kindergarten level.
Wow. And so y'all found this out. Y'all were able to discover this when he wasn't going to school.
Right. And we had to be more involved with educating them ourselves. And I'm like, okay, this is bad. And I just realized how much the public schools was dropping the ball, for one. But then 2, you know, we disagreed with a lot of the things that was going on during, I don't want to say the word. What do y'all say? You know, the pandemic season.
The C word?
Yeah, during that season.
And on YouTube.
Yeah. And we were just trying to make sure like we could kind of have a little bit more control, because we wasn't trying to have them in school all day with a mask on and all that craziness. So that just kind of opened the door. And then when we made the decision, we just really started to get around other homeschool parents, and finding out that we kind of psyched ourselves out about it, because a lot of people think I have to replace the public school method of sitting them at a desk for 8 hours and doing each subject in that order, and you don't. You kind of really just get your control, you get your flow. The beautiful thing in it is that you get to give them undivided attention rather than sharing it with 30 students. So I was able to catch my son up. Well, I ain't gonna take all the credit. My wife does it mostly, but they
be the ones.
Yeah. She's got him reading now on a level that's phenomenal to me, because I really wonder where he would be if we never made this decision. And now he's like, he actually likes reading. He's asking for different books, and that just never happened when we was in Philly.
Hey, Frank, this is a subject that's close to me, because like public school, I tell the story about me having a goddamn, they put me in a slow class, right? So I want the strongest reader, but I want no dummy, right? So I could pay attention. I'm getting C's. I'm gonna get me a good C. I might even get me a good B, right?
Mm.
And so they put me in the slow classes, and then the lady, she was in there drinking Robitussin. I told you, she was drinking Robitussin, bro. Like that was lean to her. And I'm like, they really had this lady in there watching the kids who couldn't read on lean.
Mm.
And like, so, and then I realized when I got older, I couldn't read neither, but I just knew how to learn. I knew how to pump fake the system. And then, cause like one nobody, like, and I don't know about you, but like at my house, one nobody forcing us to read, one nobody forcing us to do homework, one nobody, but my mom somehow seeing that I couldn't read like you, told the school about it. The school did something, but I was just like, hey, hold up. That ain't me. I ain't one of them. You know what I mean? So I got myself out of there, right? So how'd you notice he won't reading that well, right? Like, how'd it make you feel?
It's horrible, bro. I mean, because for one, regardless of where they're going to school, it's your responsibility as parents to know what's going on. So we still had to take accountability for the fact that we didn't know and that we put that much trust into the government's hands. Because at the end of the day, we were supposed to know that. So I'm not going to fully blame the system, but at the same time, the fact that y'all constantly passing him, he should have failed kindergarten. Why is he in third grade and can't read? And then that's the thing that, you know, the no child left behind thing. It's like they just pushing them on, or like you said, toss them in another classroom where we know those kids just ain't go perform. And it's almost like you just so quick to disregard, especially Black kids. You know, when it came out in Baltimore, how many Black kids couldn't read, and that's just
3,000.
That's like the norm,
bro. And that should be the major thing, because if we can't read, we can never educate ourselves.
That's fact.
That's right. So do you think, let me ask you this, do you think there was or is currently still an agenda behind the failure, like at least on the public school side? Like if you could elaborate on that, like it's a purposeful, intentful miseducation, so to speak.
I do. And the reason I say that is because if you study how the education system came about, the intent was literally just to train and prepare you for work. You know what I mean? And even with the bell going off, you know, and all of that is meant to program you to go into the factory. And that was literally what it was intended for. It was not intended for you to be successful in your own front. It was not intended to create entrepreneurs or free thinkers. So I do think that, because at the end of the day, there's no reason for, especially all across America now, we're seeing these different policies where they're saying Black kids actually can't learn on the level of a white kid. So let's not even expect them to be excellent. Right,
that's horrible.
Let's pass them along. Even if they do for no. How about we spend more time with them? How about we make sure that they get what they need to be prepared for life? But they're actually saying that because of our race, we're literally incapable. That's a problem.
Not facts. So like, what was so you found out, right? Your son couldn't read that as well as you thought he should have. What was that process going through to like pull him out and then homeschool him? Like, did you get a lot of pushback? Were people looking at you sideways? Was it easy? Was it difficult?
My wife was adamant about it, and I kind of just trusted her, because it was so important to her.
Facts.
Me, I didn't understand how homeschool could be better, because, you know, I was just as indoctrinated to think that the only way to go to school is the way the government told us. I just thought.
So she put you on.
She put me on 100%.
Facts.
Hold up, before you finish, what's y'all default careers? Like, what's y'all trades?
Yeah, so I'm actually a wedding DJ, and she's a stay-home mom. She's a housewife.
Okay.
Yeah. So she decided to do that, and at first it was really not much of a transition, because like I said, we was already out of school because of the C word anyway. And she was just like, man, I think I want to keep them out. It was nothing in Philly, because I don't even know if they went back. They didn't even care to really keep up with them there. Like, I don't know if I should say this, but we literally still got the laptop to school issued, and they never came to check up on. Yeah.
Yo, so my kid lost his laptop. Yeah, and check this out. He lost his laptop, and I probably didn't know. Yo, he hid that shit from us. We didn't know. And one day, I don't know, it was an assignment or something. We was like, yo, get your laptop. He was like, I don't got it. We like, what? He lost it. I don't know how long. He said he don't know when. He don't know where. That shit been gone at least a few weeks before we even found. And the school didn't even ask us for it or anything. So I ain't gonna go there either. But
yeah, and so what happened though? When the pandemic just started getting crazy. In Philly, we was like to the point where they was just making it hard to even go grocery shopping, and you started needing proof of having the jab just to go eat somewhere and all of this. So we had moved back to my hometown in Virginia, and we came down there, and that was when we had to actually go through the process. My man explained where, in Virginia, they want you to have the letter that you get to the school and all that. So we first tried, for a week we had enrolled them. We was going to let them go to school. And then my wife was like, nah, I just don't feel good about it. And we took them out. And that was the point where I think we did kind of start to get maybe judged by family. The school was asking questions. But we
the Virginia school?
Yeah.
Was it so what part? Virginia Beach, Chesapeake?
Yep, Virginia Beach, yeah.
Virginia Beach? Okay. That's crazy.
Yeah. And so look, you saying it's just the elevation of life, period, right? I've been saying lately, spiraling up, right? Even with the food journey, right? When you start trying to eat different foods, right, or less of what you've been used to, people gonna look at you funny. But taking them out to school, everybody got something to say because everybody had to go through that, and so now they just looking at a whole breed. They don't see a whole breed of kids not going to school and being homeschooled. They now see your kid as being homeschooled and not going to school and thinking the things that they're gonna be missing out, right? So, what do you say to them? How you respond to that? Like,
well, see, this is the thing about that. We grew up in an area, I think most Americans live in coastal cities, and we have no idea that there's an entire different way of life in the middle of America, where people are doing this as a lifestyle. There's co-ops like that, you know what I mean? And we think that the entire country operates the way that we do on coastal cities.
Right.
And so the more I've gotten out here and began to talk about this and began to find out about other homeschooling parents, I'm realizing it's a way bigger community than I imagined, especially now since 2020. So I think people just have to get more educated because a lot of us are just afraid of what's not considered our norm. But when you actually do the research, and you can Google this right now, homeschool kids actually score higher on the SATs, ACTs.
I bet.
And so
that is a fact.
Yeah, so people think that if you're homeschooling them, they're going to miss out on the education, when a lot of times what's going on in the school system, most educators who have started their own, like there's some educators out here who have started their own homeschools and they take in other kids. Parents who can't homeschool.
Yeah, we had a guest that was talking about that. She's trying to do that. I seen you in the Vice panel. I think the panel was mostly about homeschooling. At least that's what the title was. It was like homeschooling versus private school versus public school.
Oh yeah.
You held your own. It was an interesting conversation.
So to clarify, I don't know if Vice changed the title. Initially, the title was something like teachers, or it was something about debating the US education system at first.
Yeah, but they might have changed it.
Yeah, they might have changed it because they realized that title sounds more controversial, more clickable. So that's a good title now. But the female that was sitting next to me on the Vice panel, she has an online curriculum for homeschool parents. And what I'm learning from these teachers is that most homeschool families are not sitting there for 8 hours teaching kids.
Right. Yeah, no, that's real. Did you see the connection going in and out when you were speaking?
I just seen a message pop up now. Did you catch what I said?
Somewhat. I think you said all you needed was a bachelor's degree, right, to teach it.
No. What I was saying is that most think that you have to try to mimic the 8-hour system of going to school when you really only need 3 hours a day to teach a kid.
I wish we did that when I was in school.
But they're not going to hold on because it's a babysitter.
Right.
But listen. That part. I got two comparisons, right? China and how they doing it. But hold on, I want to take it back to what we learned in school, right? Let's go to what we actually learned in school compared to a bunch of truths and things that we should have learned.
Yes.
It won't what we needed. It won't entrepreneur. It won't investing. It won't flipping. It won't self-improvement, self-awareness, education, health, nutrition. It won't none of that. It was a bunch of
Y equals MX plus B.
It was some of it was useful, some critical thinking, but it wasn't enough. But then here the other part with China in them, right? The thing that China gonna miss is because I say this a lot, Frank, right? They
They don't have summers, right?
Game
They
time.
don't. Right.
No, they train 9-10 months on one subject first, right? But this game in under 18, you can't play the game during the week. Only an hour on the weekends.
Oh, like video games.
And right, so when they go do their learning, they so strenuous with it, they don't have that flexibility to be stars or shine or charismatic or you know what I'm talking about. They so I watched the show.
Your creativity.
They were so good at what they did when they came in second place, they couldn't take it. You know what I mean?
Right. You gotta be what?
So we got a little medium of we still get to be free and unique, but we ain't getting no hardcore education like them, right? So what do you say to people who talk about the kids missing the social aspect or a quality education?
You know, I can cite studies on that, and I used to do that, but at the end of the day, what I understand is that you can get a study to swing in whatever opinion you want. You know, you can always find a study to go with your opinion. So I'm not going to do the confirmation bias thing, but that's just up to you as a parent to make sure they get the socialization. In my household with 8 kids, they're all socialized. They all are well versed in being able to communicate with different age levels up and down. My 2-year-old was begging to go to school because she was watching other ones go to school. So she's already knows her ABCs. You know what I'm saying? So it's all the environment you place them in. Now, a lot of people don't also understand that just when you homeschool a kid, they still are lawfully allowed to go try out for sports at the local high school that their district is.
So I didn't know that. Well,
yes, they can go. They can play sports. They can go to prom. They are still entitled to do everything in their school district.
That's fine. I need to.
You do not have to exclude them from life just because you're homeschooling.
That's crazy. I would have never thought that.
That's a good point.
That's a nugget I'm taking away because I didn't know that at all.
Yeah,
that's a good point. So hold on. You said they weren't even checking for y'all when y'all was in school, right? When y'all was out of school, right?
In Philly specifically, right?
So here's a stat, right? 230,000 students are unaccounted for.
Wow.
What do you mean?
You know what I'm talking about? They not in school.
In the system. In the public school system.
But even more so, if the school ain't checking for them, who is?
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That's wild. It's coming from a place where we came from that if you want in school, they come to your door.
Exactly.
To now there's 250,000 kids not in school, bro.
Wow.
Are you looking for a media agency that covers all the creative tasks that make a business successful? Lucid Perspective produces elegant, high-resolution graphics and logos, high-definition and 4K video, complete with treatment concepts and innovative editing. Lucid Perspective provides photography services such as fashion, advertisements, product or service, and aerial photography. We also help businesses build their brands from the ground up with complete campaigns that will make your business attractive to your target audience. We can bring your brand to the masses with our effective and strategic marketing campaigns to include sales funnels, eye-catching advertisements, breakthrough digital marketing through social media, and other digital avenues. Visit lucidperspective.com today. No, that's crazy. But so another thing I want to pivot to, because what they were touching in the panel was LGBTQ thing, right? They had a good discussion, right? And I was actually surprised nobody jumped up, tried to wring nobody's neck. There was a few times I felt like it was going to go there. But for the most part, at least the edited version, what they showed, what they put out seemed cordial enough, right? When they started talking about this stuff, like that type of content, what they're teaching in the schools in that regard, right? Was pulling your kids out of public school, was that a part of that reasoning, that decision to do that?
So that was not initially a part of it, no. But I'm gonna say this. That stuff has extremely vamped up since 2020.
No, that's
it's like we're in a different world now, man. And
right,
and
past 30 years.
Totally.
Yes. And so that was part of what helped me. Because like I said, initially I was just riding with her. That was part of what helped me as a father say, okay, I actually see this because we need to get a grip on the narrative. Because even if it's not, so it may not be as extreme as a California or New York with the branding and showcasing or the drag shows and all of that. But it could just be that gender binary teacher that looks like a female was saying, "Hi, kids, I'm Mr. Bryant," and the kids are all confused. And now it's a conversation you got to have. Or even when we were on that panel, it was a New York teacher in there who was transgender who said, "I don't indoctrinate the kids, but am I supposed to lie about who I am?" I don't have the answer for you, but that still can be problematic when these kids ask you, are you telling me you don't tell them your story or why they don't see what you're telling them? And she's like, well, of course, I have to tell them my journey. Exactly.
Right.
So what's crazy? That can become the issue.
This story time and shit.
This is so. I want to say this is such a like you said, it's been the past 3 years. It's been increased so much. Like 3-4 years ago, this wasn't an issue. Nobody was talking about this. Yeah. Nobody cared about gay people, transgenders, or whatever, because they weren't. It didn't back then. They weren't trying to. I don't force, but also put their lifestyle on the children, right? On kids, right? Adults, okay, that's another. Adults can choose to ignore it. We see the shit on the commercials and the TVs or whatever. We know what it is. But when you come for the kids and it's like you shove it down their throat and then push it and push it and push it and then say, well, we're not trying to indoctrinate. It's like, bro, what are you talking about? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like it's on 1,000 right now. Yes. From just a few years ago. And it's just such a drastic change. And I think that's the shock that's like hitting most people is like, what is happening in the public school system?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Anybody stick around to find out.
Listen, right. Mine ain't gonna be the martyr.
I know, and I wanna commend you because there was a part on there where you said, you took your family to a gay pride and you showed them you showed them the possibility, but you said that's not what we do, that's not our family. And I gotta that's mad respect because it's like the other side feels like, or it seems like they don't even want to go that route. Like, when it comes to being religious or Christian or traditional, it's like, that's not even an option, right? That's frowned upon and, degraded and dehumanized and minimized. And it's like, this is the way to live. And I think that's the part that I feel like people need to speak up, which you are, what I'm saying? You're an advocate for that. And I've seen it. But that's why we like to have these conversations. Cause like, we're trying to figure shit out, right? We just trying to figure this shit out.
It's important you bring that up because the irony is that when I bring up homeschool, people say you shouldn't shelter your kids from what's going on here. They need to have a full view of what's going on in the world. I'm like, brother, my kids know more of what's going on in the world than your kids likely do. Right. When I'm saying that because you think that sending them to school is what's preparing them for the world. I'm like, I have real world conversations with my kids about this stuff, sometimes on a level that they probably shouldn't hear at their age. But I'm just like, I'm not gonna not have you understand what's going on, but I'm also getting the privilege to teach it in my way versus you learning it your professor's way. And so, like you said, that was 2019 when we took them to Pride Parade. That shows you how much things have flipped because we would never take them today. Now they're out there mimicking sex and they got their shit out. They're doing wild stuff. Yeah. But on top of that, it's always taken as a narrative that we're hating gay people and we just no. We literally went out there as Christians holding signs saying, "I'm sorry for how the church has treated you." That's literally what our sign said. We went out there to say, hey, even though we're Christians and we have this stance, there's no reason why. Man, people come up to us in tears, like you don't know how much that means to me because the reason we're so anti-Christian is because my family disowned me when I came out. I haven't talked to my parents in 40 years. And so we was trying to be a bridge.
Right.
And people can't understand that, hey, I can have love for you as a human and still not want my children to go that route because I understand that that's not what's good for society.
Let's talk about some of that ignorance, right? And some of that prejudice that or just unawareness that our parents had, right? And they weren't able to give us, right? So I don't know about you, but I'm from a place where my parents didn't have the highest level of education and they was policed by police and they wasn't in the best economic stances, right? So my mom was like, man, put them in school, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm telling her, I wish they would have told me the truth about more things, i.e. Santa Claus, i.e. whatever the case it may be, right? Because you were saying you tell them stuff, they conversation they probably shouldn't hear. And I was like, no, they need to hear it.
Yeah.
Because ain't no need of holding back the truths.
Exactly.
Right. And no need of holding back the truth so long, right? Wait, letting me come into awakening so late. Right.
Yeah.
I could have been focusing on, because some people get the chance to focus on things at the age of 7.
Yes.
Right. We don't get the chance to focus on them things till we maybe 18, 23, 25. We still get to excel at them. But why, when we could have excelled at it? Mr. Beast started making videos at 14.
Right.
Yeah.
Bro was only 25.
Yeah.
Bro was only 25. And so what kind of classes are y'all kind of focusing on, or do you kind of let them pick the kind of stuff they want to learn?
Most of my kids are really young. My oldest is 13, so I haven't even got into the high school stage yet. Yeah.
I'm with you, right?
And then my one under that is 10. That's the one that we had to catch up on reading. So after that is 7, 5, 4, 3, 2. Like we have like one every year for like 6 years.
Lord.
So most of it honestly is foundational stuff right now. Now the older one, we have her in what do you call it? I forget what she calls it, but it's a extra program that you can add like on top of
extracurricular.
Right?
Extracurricular, yeah.
Like that my friend that I told you was on the vice panel that she has.
Dope.
And that is a program that teaches the American dream. It teaches about entrepreneurship and things like that. So she's learning that through that program. That was something that we just was like, cool, that's a great resource, and she can kind of learn self-paced. But aside from that, most of what we teach them, bro, is our traditional family values, the things that we believe is going to make them have successful home lives. Because I think, honestly, that's the biggest thing we're missing in Black America. We got a lot of people with college educations, but we don't got a lot of people married out here.
Let's go.
That's the big thing I think we're teaching them, not just by example, but also, just really drilling into them is the importance of marriage and family for a healthy society to move forward.
And that's crazy. Now saying that's an extreme thought to have these days. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like if you on that page, it's like, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? We talk about this stuff all the time, like with the Kevin Samuels topics, and we talked about the Kiki Palmer thing, and all. It's like I feel like there's an intentional agenda to divide 100%. Male and female, and just dissolve any type of relationship that people can have. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just dissolve into the whole shit and turn it into shit, and then everybody's up in arms, like, why can't I find a man or find a woman? I can't get a good relationship. And it's like, because the things you listen to, the things you watch, the thing that's in the news, everything it's made to dissolve that relationship. You know what I'm saying? That the male divinity with the female divinity is just destroying that entire thing. So you guys, I know you guys, right? Keek say unify thrive. How did you guys, if I may ask, how did you come together and decide to live the lifestyle that you have? Like, if I understand, your wife stay at home, she teaches the kids, and it's a traditional, I want to say traditional biblical marriage, correct?
Right.
So was that always the plan? Did that kind of mold? Was that intentional, or did you want to try something different to what everybody else is doing out there?
That's a great question. I don't think I've ever been asked that.
I try sometimes. They just come from.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't think it was intentional. I think it just made sense as our family grew.
That's dope.
I think it got to the point where when we had 4 kids, it was like, your money just gonna go to daycare.
Wow, that's a bar.
I don't know, bro.
That's a bar.
If she can't go cover daycare, she can't go to work. So
you feel me? And that's what I'm saying. So it just was like, well, there's more value in you being home with the kids and able to address
tons more
than you going to work just to say you working, and the paychecks going to daycare, and
the whole paycheck.
Yeah,
whole thing.
Listen, daycare
they charge per child per week, right? It's not like an hourly thing.
Yeah, daycare trifling, and I think too, man. You know, the oldest two kids was hers from a high school relationship, so she brought them into the marriage. So initially she worked because personally I just didn't see the value in fully providing for her and another man's kids. Just being all the way honest.
Right.
So she worked just for the sake of because she still lived with me. I paid all the bills, but it was just for the sake of, hey, you can afford the daycare, the clothes, the extra expenses that I wouldn't have had to worry about.
Right.
But once she started having mine, I think by the second one, it just didn't make sense no more.
Daycare, I can imagine. Yeah.
It didn't make sense no more, and it just became like she felt so in love. I think now that she had me and was not doing it as a single mom, she fell in love with her kids more, because it's like, wow, like this is a product of us and our love, and I want to be here to raise them. I think she didn't want to leave anymore either. And so it wasn't even like a fight about it. But there was one point in our life where we started to have kind of a rocky time in our marriage. And I think it was kind of like a postpartum thing. She was feeling inadequate about herself, and she didn't feel like she was good at being a homemaker. This was new to her. She was raised by a single mom. Right. And she was like, I want to go back to work, because that was the only way she felt valuable. She didn't feel that
shit. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I was like, you know what? I ain't gonna argue with you. This is the only thing I'm gonna say. I worked nights at the time. And I was like, if you're gonna go to work, which means I gotta work nights and then get up and watch the kids in the morning, I am not picking up your slack with the housework. So as long as you
dirty as fuck,
you still gonna come home and take care of home, enjoy. She's like, okay.
Yeah, talking about.
And she went out there.
Shit ain't last.
She did it for about a year and was like, I'm ready to come back home. And I was real though, because the family suffered. Like I think she was pregnant with child number 5 at that time.
Oh wow! And she was working.
And working, bro. Yeah. Point. And we really suffered because I'm sleeping in the morning trying to watch the kids half awake. You know, the kids weren't getting taken care of the way they would by mom. You know, I'm gonna feed them some noodles and hot dogs. Like, it just was garbage.
What? Oh, loaf of bread, take it,
bro.
It just was garbage, bro. We had no real structure, no real order around there. She would come home to chaos and have to clean it up and fix it. So she's more frustrated. And then it affected our intimacy. But she talking about she too tired. I'm not used to that. You know?
Right. So, you know, this is real. So like this, so I guess it molded, right? It wasn't intentional, right? It was just, you know, when you say traditional marriage roles, people frown upon that. You know what I'm saying? They don't like when you talk about that. It's like, oh, just because you're a man, you don't have to do this. Because you're a woman, you don't have to do this. But that's kind of what happened, right? It's just y'all molded into symbiosis, right? And it worked out.
Yeah, that's why it's interesting that you're calling it traditional marriage roles. Right. Because it did just traditionally happen when the family began to be traditional. You know, it was just
alphabet people should hear that part, how nature just fucking happened on its own.
You're not fighting against nature. Sometimes nature would just prove your point itself.
No, that's real.
Gosh, somebody.
That's real.
One of the strongest things in the world, dog, is a family structure.
Man.
One of the most powerful things in the world is a family structure. And they knew exactly what they were doing. They came through in the late 70s, early 80s, wiped all them men out. Listen, I'm a product of it. 2 families. Both of my granddaddies had homes and wives.
Wow.
Both of my granddaddies had 9+ kids, right?
Wow.
18 boys between the 2 families, right? Both of my grandparents died. Only 4 of them 18 boys had homes.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm talking about? And hold on. That wasn't just my family. That was the whole America.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
they got us away from
the
those
black family is amazing. So what?
They got us away from those values. And it amazes me how our grandparents was able to grow up in the 50s, 60s with all the Jim Crow in the world and was able to stick together. We was married at an 80% rate back then, bro.
Oh, right.
I can't even picture 80% of Black Americans married. That sounds like a fallacy.
And it sounds like a fairy tale.
Now we married at a 26% rate. That's a crisis.
So what you think, if you had to put a solution, right? Let's say you had a solution, or somebody actually said, hey, we're going to come to you, give us a solution. We're going to snap our fingers. We're going to make it work. What would you say is a solution to raising those rates, right? With the marriage, having more of a, I don't want to say traditional, but having more of a complementary relationship between a male and a female. What would you say is a solution to get people to wake up to those type of values, as opposed to what's pushed and promoted today, which we all know is not necessarily optimal?
Well, I mean, yeah, point blank period, as a nation, we're getting further from biblical traditional values in general. And even if you don't like the religion itself, these were the traditional values of every human society since the beginning of time. So you know what I mean? This is not something that we have not always as humans known to be what works best. And I think we're so hell-bent on trying to be progressive now that we're actually progressing away from what's healthy for us, and that's interdependence. We got to stop this independent stuff, and everything's about self, and we're supposed to do life together,
right?
You know, and I think instead of raising our kids, especially our daughters, to go out here to make you proud by saying I got a PhD and I got this and this title, how about we be proud of her being married and raising children? It's like feminism empowers women to do everything except that. When a woman says I'm a housewife and I just love raising my children, she'll get shamed.
Right. Yeah, there's usually like, what do you mean? Don't you want more? Don't you want a career? Everybody's different. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
It goes, bro. It's the women. Like the men are like, yo, that's awesome. You lucky. I wish my woman, was as available. Cool. But it's the women that's always like, so what else do you do? And she's like, I raised my kids. What's wrong with that?
Right.
And even if she did decide she wanted to do something else, we still shouldn't devalue the key thing that makes women significant over us.
Right. That's a bar. That's
a major issue in society right now.
Hi, I'm King Arthur, founder of Novel Views Tech, where we prepare children aged 10 to 17 for a future shaped by advanced technology. Our curriculum dives into fields like robotics, nanotechnology, quantum computing, and more. But what really brings learning to life are our bi-monthly, Exploring the Future of Technology webinars, hosted by industry experts. These webinars aren't just lectures, they're interactive discussions that connect your child to the pulse of the tech world, creating a learning experience that goes beyond the classroom. We offer a money-back guarantee to ensure you're completely satisfied. Equip your child with the skills to not just adapt, but to innovate and lead in the future. Join us at Novel Views Tech, and let's build their future today.
Yeah, it is.
And on top of that, we got to stop the I don't need a manism, because that's not true. And proven not true in every Black neighborhood in America, because it's the kids who ain't have a man in the house that's tearing the community
suffer.
Up.
Yeah, no, that's suffer. Real. That's right.
And so I think those comments probably come from those who don't have a family.
Yeah.
Right. Because I don't want to be judging nobody, but I'm 36. Frank almost 40. You probably about 40, right?
I'm actually 34.
Oh. My bad, bro.
I'll be 39. I'll be 39 this year, bro. 34, 8 kids, bro. That's what's up.
My bad, bro. Even then, right? Even then, I ain't saying 34 man ain't no kids. What you doing? You chasing that dollar a little too hard. I ain't saying that. I might be, but 38 come around, 42 come around, and then she ain't as, I ain't gonna call it as valuable, but if she 45 ain't got no kids, her mind ain't, as unifying, thriving as a 32 with no kids. You know what I'm talking about? So I just look at them as like, I get it. You can go through this whole thing, dolo, and you ain't got to add to the population if you don't want to, but me saying like it's making me a better man, making me a better person, right? Doing the biblical thing, like you're saying, like being fruitful and multiplying, right? But like some people just going and chasing a career or a life and just having fun and good, that's fine, but you can't even buy this. You can't even buy family, dog. And so that's one of the things that, to me, that's so much more valuable because, I don't know, to me, it just making a better person.
Yeah,
you can't even buy it. You can have all the money in the world. You can't buy this.
For men, even, it gives us bigger purpose because you touched on a lot. There's a lot to unpack in what you said. Because the unfortunate reality is that as men, we got a little bit more time than our female counterparts. Because we can still impregnate somebody at 55.
Fuck, was it De Niro was 65, 70 making babies?
So, we can make babies well into our 60s, but our ladies, 35, 40, they pushing danger zone when it comes to that. And so that's the unfortunate reality that this kind of impacts women a little bit more in that regard. But even with that said, even if a woman is past the childbearing age, adopt. You can find plenty of purpose in bringing in other children who had a chance at a family. You know, raising them up because some adopted kids turn out to be world leaders. You know, there's still purpose behind, even if you miss that point. But the point blank period is that we can't make life all about self and hedonism.
That's a society thing. So like, I mean, we've seen these past 3-4 years have been so crazy. Like, if put me back into 2020, right, and then describe 2023 to me, I would say you're full of shit. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. There's no fucking way, right? The dynamic, the change from today to 4 or 5 years ago is so different. You know what I'm saying? It's like we got shit happening. We got these parades with grown ass men with their dinglings out, fucking in the street, dancing in front of kids, right? And that's normal to them, or that's okay to them. And they got people bringing their kids to these events. It's all football. I want to ask you about because I haven't seen this movie. I don't know, King, if you saw it yet. The Sound of Freedom. Have you seen that yet?
I did.
So my question is, so I got a 12-year-old, you got a 13-year-old. Is it a movie that you would let them see for educational purposes? Is it? I mean, I don't know how vulgar it is or grotesque or whatever. I heard some things about it. Is it something that you think a child could watch to learn about that for their own education and safety, or is it too much?
They actually did a very good job at sending the point home without vulgarities. So I would actually allow all of my kids to watch it.
Okay, that's what's up.
Especially for the sake of them knowing what's going on out here. I think it's very, very vital in that regard, because we can talk to them about the boogeyman under the bed all we want. But sometimes they got to see and really get that fear of God in their heart. Like, oh, there's really people out here that don't give a damn about me.
Right. And like my son, he has a phone and all that. And it's like, I have it locked down and stuff like that. But you never know. People start texting, contacting kids. And it's like, if you show them the movie, you show them like there's people out there that will yoke your ass up and do stuff like this. Right. So as an educational thing.
Unless I'm mistaken, there's no real sex scenes in the movie.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. I don't remember anything vulgar at all. Like, there were moments where I quenched, like, is he gonna do that? But there were never anything that actually showed, you know what I mean, for us to have to be concerned about.
Okay, that's good. I figured it would have been done with a taste, with it's not, again, not really grotesque. Like, why are they showing this? And then you got actors involved, so now you got the actors doing crazy shit. But that's good. That's good to hear.
I want to commend you, though. I love that you said your 13-year-old son. I would have never guessed it was a boy, because so many people think this stuff don't happen to boys. And that's why it's probably more important for him to watch it, because there was an example of it happening to a boy. Yeah.
It's crazy. This world, what's happening, bro, is like, we watching and we're just like, where is people's minds going? Especially the adults. Like, we have a lot of adults co-signing a lot of this shit right now. And that's the scary part.
Yeah.
People our age, people older than us, 40, 50-year-old men. I ain't gonna get into it, but it's just like, what are y'all been here this whole time. So now all of a sudden y'all coming out, like, how many of y'all are there for real? You know what I'm saying?
That's a valid question.
Like, y'all weren't born yesterday. Y'all older than me, so what the fuck? But
no, it's scary how many out there.
So I want y'all in your free time to look into, if you have it, have you heard of the GAY Manifesto?
No, I have not.
Yeah, you should look into that, man.
I don't think it's for us. It's not for us, is it?
Man, is it a book? What, a movie?
It was written by a gentleman by the name of Michael Swift. He was a gay revolutionary, and it was printed in congressional records. So this is like not no conspiracy stuff.
In 87?
1987, yeah. Just to read a quick excerpt if I can. And he literally
is this good for YouTube? Are we gonna get the whole account?
Look at my face.
You can say it. I'll edit it.
I was about to say, you can edit it out if you decide it's not, but just for y'all to know as fathers.
Right. All
right.
We shall sodomize your sons, emblems of your feeble masculinity, of your shallow dreams and vulgar lies. We shall seduce them in your schools, in your dormitories, in your gymnasiums, in your locker rooms, in your sports arenas, in your seminaries, in your youth groups, your movie theater bathrooms, your army bunkhouses, your truck stops, your all-male clubs, in your houses of Congress, wherever men are with men together, your sons shall become our minions and do our bidding. They will recast in our image. They will come to crave and adore us. Women, you cry for freedom. You say you are no longer satisfied with men. They make you unhappy. We connoisseurs of the masculine face, the masculine physique, shall take your men from you then. We will assume them, instruct them, embrace them when they weep. Women, you say you wish to live with each other instead of with men, then go and be with each other. We'll give your men pleasures they have never known, because we are foremost men too, and only one man knows how to truly please another man. Only one man can understand the depth and feeling, mind and body of another man. All laws banning homosexual activity will be revoked. Instead, legislation shall be passed which engenders love between men. All homosexuals must stand together as brothers. We must be united artistically, philosophically, socially, politically, and financially. And I'm going to read one more part. We will triumph only when we present a common face to the vicious heterosexual enemy. If you dare to cry the F word that you're not allowed to say, fairy, queer at us, we will stab you in your cowardly hearts and defile your dead puny bodies. We'll write poems of love between men, share stage plays, and make films about love between heroic men, which will replace the chic, superficial, anti-mental, insipid, juvenile heterosexual infatuations presently dominating cinema screens. Like I said, this is from 1987. This is a congressional record. You can look it up right now. It's called the Gay Manifesto.
I think this clip can't fight.
This gonna be a clip on Patreon. This is exclusive.
Yeah.
He can't fight. He sounds like he can't fight.
Literally everything they're saying, we're seeing happen
today.
Now. Mm-hmm. And so, you have to literally have cognitive dissonance to think that this is just an accident.
Right. No, it's all intentional.
And I told people that because people were so gung-ho, about love is love when Obama legalized gay marriage in 2012. And I told people then that this was what was going to unfold.
Right.
That was just the first step.
And you know what the thing is? Like, the crazy shit is, like, I don't care. If these two men want to do stuff to each other,
one cares.
I do not care. Most people do not give a fuck.
They were doing it anyway.
Right. It's when you coming for the kids, other people's kids and children. Everyone should have a problem. Even, there's Gays Against Groomers. There's all these other things. There's these organizations. But at the same time, it's like, everybody should be on the same page about this shit when it comes to the children. But what baffles me is the fact that everybody's not on the same page with this shit.
But this is the issue.
True colors.
How do we, by law in our nation, say you can legally do it, but then we tell our kids, or we say we got to shield our kids from it? Why do we got to shield our kids from something that's legal?
Right.
That's the double-edged sword.
I don't know, bro.
I get you, but that's difficult though, because now it's like we've normalized it by rule of law. Why would they?
Well, pedophilia isn't legal.
Correct.
Right now.
Yet.
Right now in July of 2023, pedophilia in this country is not legal. But we know there's what they did in Cali, right, with the bill towards sexual predators. They blocked it or whatever. Like they're inching closer and closer and closer to trying to reduce the age of consent, reduce statutory rape restrictions and all this stuff. Like they just inching towards it closer and closer and closer. And we know that. We see that. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm confused about, like, the adults in the room. Like, we're not on the same page, and it's just like
And then they've changed the terminology now to MAPS for minor attractive persons.
Right, that's trash.
To make it a little bit more comfortable for them.
I stuck my mouth a little bit. And so that's Frank, that's why I be always yelling about this personal responsibility, right? So we talked about how the individuals, people are just about themselves, right? And they lack the unity, right? Or the cohesiveness to come together and do something for a common bond, right? Or common goal. But we also got the ones who are trying to go through a different route. We got to be more self-aware too, right? We got to take care of ourselves more. We got to take care of what we're learning more, right? Because if we're going to be showing our offsprings in our immediate circles, right, how we moving, or what's the way, they looking for a way, we are the way. And most of us are the bright spots of our families, right? Everybody looking at you to do what you're going to do, be who you're going to be. Stand in what you're going to stand in. Show me how to be a 36-year-old man or 34-year-old man, right? Show me how to pick myself up when shit get hard. Show me how to talk to this girl because I think she's pretty. Show me how to go cry by myself when I lose. Show me how to not whine when I lose. You know what I'm talking about? I don't want to. And my son come here with a participation trophy. It's going in the fucking oven.
We good on that.
You know what I mean? But it's important for us to take onus on ourselves, right? And that's because that's what they doing. They didn't took onus on they self, and now they want to force feed it to people who don't have the same dominion over themselves, right? So that's just how I see it, man.
Yeah, no, this is. I mean, stuff needs to be talked about. Like, I see you out there, bro. You out there doing the good work. It's an inspiration, but it needs to be talked about. I feel like if people like us weren't speaking out, and we, they want people to be submissive. They want people to not cause a ruckus. They want people to just
be docile,
go with the flow, be docile.
And because they start to talk, that's when you gain understanding. Because that's how I learned what I know, that it all ties in, because this is not to demonize homosexuals. There are plenty out here who maybe struggle with the thoughts but don't act on it. But the issue is that majority of homosexuals struggle because of what happened to them as a child. And a lot of people have no idea about this reality because they don't have the conversations. But if you get to talking to people, you will find out that literally every single one that I have met was molested or raped as a child.
I know a handful too. I know a handful too. And he got very graphic with me when he told me his story. And I was just like, yeah. And
why wouldn't it confuse you sexually if you, at 8 years old, your first experience with sex is from a man, and then we know, understanding human anatomy, that you may possibly have enjoyed it by accident. And now you gotta wonder what's wrong with me. That's tough. We don't have enough people getting the therapy they need for that, because it's such a swept under the rug thing in the Black community when our children are being abused.
No, that's facts. That's facts, man. Conversations like this is hate speech, though. Remember that this is all hate speech. you can't talk about.
And so y'all say I don't know much about the world, right? But what about the ones who just say they seen it on TV and now they want to be that way? Do they qualify?
The girls doing that, just because it's cute.
Friends.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
And then I mean, neither, because like you ain't even who've been through a traumatic experience and y'all fight with yourself or y'all convictions. That's one thing, right? But if you've seen it and you just ain't never tried the other side or gave that other life a chance, are you really?
It's the trendy now. Like the high schools, like mad high schools are promoting it. TV's promoting it. Artists promoting it. We already know. You know what I'm saying? And the kids, they're very impressionable. You know what I'm saying? If it's a cool thing to do and it's going to make them look cool with other people, they're going to do it because they want to be friends. So, and there it is. But Drisco, this was dope conversation. Thank you so much for coming on.
Super fire.
Yeah, you're doing good work, bro. We got to be out there. We got to just be speaking, you know what I'm saying? Speaking out against this type of stuff. I know we're not the only ones. There's so many avenues out there. and I feel like there's a turnover in the public psyche. I feel like there's some people coming around, you know what I'm saying, and realizing like, yo, something ain't right here. For me, what I just recently found Gays Against Groomers, like the account, and that was like a few weeks, and I was like, yo, I would have thought I never would have seen something like that. And so like that for me gives me a little hope. It's like, okay, we're not in this alone. There's other people in that community that see that this is all bullshit. And I think that's something to praise. You know what I'm saying? So
they're a huge platform at that. So that's so powerful, man.
They are, yeah. And I just learned about them. So I don't know how long they've been around or whatever, but I just learned about them like maybe 3 weeks ago. But thank you for blessing us coming through the figuring shit out. Hopefully we figure some shit out. I don't know. Sure. Maybe we got more confused.
Oh, what the other question is what is something you're trying to figure out? What's one thing you're trying to figure out? Move forward.
What am I trying to figure out? I think what I'm trying to figure out, man, is how to really drive the message home to the Black community about the importance of marriage. It's one thing to say it, it's another thing for it to stick. I don't think we care enough.
It's frowned upon. It's horribly frowned upon.
So how do we really reverse that trend and like make that the cool thing again in the Black community? Because our music, popular culture, for men, it ain't cool to get married. It's cool to sleep with a bunch of women. And for the women, it's cool to be independent and say you don't need a man. So for neither of us is it cool no more.
Right. There's a solution. Right.
The same rappers that's telling us the lifestyle they are married with kids.
Right. I was about to say Push is married. You know what I'm saying? Like I can name
look at when Cole pushes his marriage, he loses his cool. When Kendrick talks about his marriage, he loses his cool.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I mean? So
that's a dope question. I'm glad you asked that question about figuring it out, and I'm glad you answered that because now I'm going to think about that and be like, yo, how do we make this shit cool? How do we make this something that's people want to do? So I don't know. That should be something.
Figure it out, let me know.
Facts. We could do that. All right, bro. But we appreciate you, man. Thank you for meeting up with us. We'll catch you on the other side, and you have a good night.
All right, man. You too. Y'all have a great night.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate it. All right, peace out.